Hello, my name is Cohen Matthew, and I hope you all having a good Christmas. Today, we're going to be looking at my final CA of my class of 2013. In this video, I will showcase part of my code. In the second video, I will showcase the rest of my code, and then in the third video, I will showcase gameplay. Okay, first off, in the first part, we shall look at the main game, the two classes of enemy and player, the inventory class, the item class, and the attack class, and the info, which is used at the end, the start, and whenever the player dies. I will also look at some of the new methods I added in, and I will recap on some of the old methods in case people haven't seen my first two videos. Okay, first off, we got the main game. In the main game, it starts off with a setup the game where it output this here. I added in a load function which will be used in the save CPP later on. And we have here CINX. So whatever they put in, if they put in start, it will start the game. If they put in load, it will load up the game. If they put in anything else, it will automatically shut down. We were looking, it would load the text file of the player and the room. I wasn't able to put the item and the inventory in the load thing, which we will discuss later on. First off, it would go to start. Then it would ask, what is your username? You enter in your username, then what is your race? You enter in your race, and these will be stored in the class player. I then added two items into your class. They will be stored in the inventory, and then the intro will be displayed, which we will see in a minute. Then it will move on to the room CPP, and as we saw in CA2, once you completed the game, it automatically went back to the other room. I wasn't able to fix that, so it still have that side effect, but it was supposed to exit here and pause to just see the ending and then end it. I would probably try to fix that over the Christmas, as I am very interested in C++ now, and probably would work on an actual text-based game through the summertime. Okay, next we'll move on to player. First off, we have the basic constructors. These two are used to make the player have a name, health, hit point, and experience point. These are used in once you're attacking or getting item for using item on your player. These here are getters. All of this, and these getters here are used in the actually these aren't getters. These are used in the attack CPP up here, which we will look at in a minute. But it is it takes the damage from the enemy and take it away from whatever the player held, which is 10. But once it's over, it'll probably be like 6 or so. This is a getter which will return whatever the health is. This is also used in attack. The get damage is whatever the player attack is. And I added in this function experience, which will get the experience, which was mandatory in our CA final. I also added a function and experience, excuse me, which is used in attack and the puzzle thing, which will add to your experience score. And if you have more than 50 or more, then you'll have an increase in your attack, and it will be normally by 1. Next we have the setters here. And then we have these setters here, which is used through the saving, which we will look on later on. Okay, now we move on to enemy. Again, basic constructors. Like the player, we have these methods here, which is used in the attack class, and attack CPP. If the enemy get hit, it would take damage equal to the damage of the player hit point, and then return health. Then we have get name, get damage, and we added in a function called load name, which will load in the enemy name, a list of enemy name, and pick one for our enemy. I did have two others called load attack and load health, but sadly they did not work, so I went back and deleted them to go back to using this kind of stuff. Now we look at attack. As we saw in CA2, our attack function did not work, and the reason was that these here had an error in the middle. So that means if this is true but this is still full, it will still go in. So that way it came out with 120 attack, and the enemy was supposed to die like in like 2 turns. We still have the random attack, which was used to roll to see if the enemy hits you or you hit the enemy. And then here's the thing where we take damage equal to the enemy attack damage, and if our health is less than or equal to 0, then it's true and it was exit, and then that is true. Also, what was causing the problem was this here, because if both of these were true and it exit, it wouldn't go down here, it would automatically go in here, just making the player invincible in my CA2. Now we move on to info. This is where we output the intro, the outro, and the death scene once the player is dead. Okay, now we move on to the item class. Again, basic constructor, a deconstructor, getting the name of the item, setting names, and then it prints the item, which you can see in a room. The inventory class and get a list and store a list of item. It add the item into the list. I added this function, which I was going to use in my save function to get to restore once you load. It should restore the item in your class. Sadly, it did not work, so I just skipped that. I then move on to the print inventory, which print out all that is in the inventory. The remove class would remove once you use it, and then this would check if the item is in your class. Okay, that was part 1 of my CA final, looking at the code. Part 2, we will look at the rest of the code, including the save function, and then in part 3, we will play the game. Hopefully you enjoy, and I hope you have a good Christmas. Goodbye.